Welcome, fellow Toastmasters and guests. This meeting of online presenters has now begun. Guests, please know that in order to be a member of our club, you must be current or former active member of Toastmasters International and have completed at least 6 speeches from either the traditional or pathways programs, or you must have substantial relevant presentation experience that you demonstrate in 3 to 5 minutes speech delivery during one of our club meetings. All requests for membership are subject to board approval. If you have not already done so, please change your panel to ensure it shows your name and role if you have one. Right-click and select Rename to do so. We have members and often guests from many countries throughout the world. Thus, other professional organizations, we ask that you please be aware of language and word usage that may be considered offensive or otherwise insensitive due to cultural differences. Please note that we will be recording this meeting. Your video audio contributions may be used for our club marketing purposes. Please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. And tonight is the special evening. It's an open house event. And the theme for this event, professionalism, purpose, and power in diversity. Please welcome our club president, DTM, Mr. Nick Laconi.
Thank you very much, Andre. I'm hoping that you can hear me. I got a little bit disconnected there for a second. Welcome to Online Presenters. Very happy that you're on board. I'm really looking forward to today's meeting. I know you are. We've talked to some guests already before the meeting, and I'm going to come back to you afterwards and ask you what your takeaways are. Now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our Toastmaster of the day. Please give it up for DTM Lewis Brown. Lewis, we don't hear any sound.
I just wanted to see if I can get a consensus at everybody. Do you mind if, I like that you couldn't tell that.
My apologies if the sound was a little too loud there. Hopefully not. By the way, those videos are courtesy of David Carr. He served so many roles in our club: treasurer and webmaster and video maker. And I'm pretty sure he had some help from some other folks, but he's just amazing. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Online Presenters, our special open house event, Professionalism, Purpose, and Power in Diversity. I am Distinguished Toastmaster Lewis Brown. I am a charter member of Online Presenters and the current Vice President of Membership. This event would not be possible if it wasn't for the assistance of two of my colleagues and good friends, Sarah Idhen and Andrew Byrne. Please give them a round of applause, even a virtual applause if you like, for their help with this event, because it is truly a lot of effort and time that they spent in making this happen. We may have some non-Toastmaster guests in our audience. For their benefit, I do encourage them to check out Toastmasters.org, that is the Toastmasters International site, as well as our club site, op.toastmost.org, for more information about the Toastmasters program and our club in particular. Let me share with you a little bit about Online Presenters. We chartered in 2017. We currently have 52 members, which by the way includes Laura. We have 22 DTMs in our club, almost half of our entire membership. And our members come from 11 countries, spanning 6 continents. I'll leave it up to you to guess which one we do not have any members from yet. Antarctica. You never know. We may market our club down there and see what happens. As I mentioned, our folks are from 11 countries. Here is a list of those countries. As you can see, it literally spans the globe. A few things. One, I'll admit that I did not even know a country called Mauritius existed until our friend Christian joined our club. And as he shared with some of you, I'm not sure if all of you heard this, but he joins our club at like 3 a.m. in the morning. And I know our friends in Great Britain are also dealing with, I think, a time of midnight, perhaps 1 a.m. Some of our other members, I'm sure, also meet at some unusual times. I have to admit, I'm spoiled, and I know our Florida friends are spoiled, and some of the other folks in the United States, of course, because we meet at normal times. But God bless our members who just find our club so amazing that they'll choose to attend and stick with us every week, even if it is 3 a.m. or 1 a.m. there. 36 of our 52 members, are from the United States. Here's a list of the states in which those members reside. As you can see, our members span the country, coast to coast, border to border, and we continue to grow. I'm sure down the road we'll have folks from many other states, as I have been contacted from folks who are inviting guests and folks who are even interested in joining us, and of course from other countries as well. We have an amazing group of members who are so seasoned and experienced, and you'll know why once we get to certain portions of the program. The average number of years that our members have been in the Toastmasters program is 10. 10 years. That is simply amazing. Some of the brick and mortar clubs I've been in do not have that level of retention. It is simply amazing. And of course, that is an average. It isn't the max. One of our members has been a member of our club for an amazing number of years. Now, I don't know if you kind of caught it. He introduced himself earlier and he kind of hinted at how many years that possibly could be. Our good friend and colleague, Jim Barber, has been with Toastmasters for an incredible 32 years. I mean, that is simply an incredible accomplishment. Jim is one of our seasoned evaluators, and again, a seasoned Toastmaster. We'll be hearing from Jim later on during the evaluation segment. Now, we have some roles that are unique to an online club. And again, as I mentioned to the non-Toastmasters folks, I encourage you again to go check out our website, op.toastmos.org, so you can get really extensive definitions of each of the roles we have. Now, these roles exist to help the Toastmaster run a professional and productive meeting. Two in particular, though, are unique to an online club. There may be many more. I have visited some other online clubs that really have some unique roles and are just so creative with the way they have set themselves up. We have two here. And I'll share with you, by the way, later on what some of the, I guess I'll call traditional roles are. We have one called the watcher. And as you can read here, that person is responsible to ensure that our online presence is professional, from our lighting to our microphones, our sound, to even our backgrounds. And I will say that I have learned quite a bit in terms of just making sure that our online presence is top-notch, which is so important for many things we do, especially now. The watcher is also responsible for making sure we don't have any distracting hand gestures or other things going on. And the watcher provides feedback at the end of each meeting. We also have a role called the chat monitor. Again, as you can see there, that person is responsible for giving us feedback on what happens in the chat. Oftentimes people share very important information. I believe some of that was shared here today. Elaine Nieberding posted some links to David's article as well as the latest press release. And sometimes there's even some humor that we put in there and some feedback for our speakers and other folks. So it really is a great way to provide additional feedback and helpful information on top of what is shared verbally. And the chat monitor also gives a report on that at the end of the meeting. Recently, we conducted a member satisfaction survey. We periodically always want to hear from our members to see what we are doing well, to ensure that we are meeting their expectations and that we continue to provide value to each and every one of them. Our latest survey was fairly straightforward and simple. We asked 3 or 4 questions, and again, mainly in the spirit of hearing what they like about our club, why they joined, why they stayed, and also we just asked them to give us a little bit of interesting words in terms of their description of online Toastmasters, and I'll share that with you right now. First, we asked folks, why did you join Online Presenters? We had 6 options that folks can choose from. The top 3 that were noted were to develop new skills or increase learning. And certainly in an online or virtual environment that is critical these days, to be part of a multicultural club. And I'm not sure if anyone else is aware, but I am pretty sure 99% confident that our club is probably one of the most multicultural out there in the world. And also to have another opportunity to advance their educational level. Many folks are part of multiple clubs, and I am amazed at some of our own members who are members of 3 others, 4 others, 5 other clubs. By being a member of multiple clubs, you can really progress your leadership and communication skills at an even more express pace and finish the Toastmasters program if you would like to do that earlier. We also asked folks, why do you stay? Of the 5 options we had there, the top 3 were because of our professional meetings, our excellent evaluations, and the diversity of our membership and club-sponsored events tied for 3rd place. We sponsor many programs and workshops outside of our club. Some of those you saw in the second video that was shown. And these are things that are just very popular with our members, and those are things that we'll continue to do going forward and certainly probably expand upon. We also ask folks to simply describe online presenters with 1 or 2 words. Not surprisingly, this is the one where we just got a smattering of answers, as the word cloud shows here. Some of the top responses we got were professional, yet fun, supportive, well-structured meetings, skilled evaluations, and wonderful programs. And you can also get an idea of all those other incredible responses that we got from folks that just show the strength of our club. As I mentioned earlier, perhaps in the introduction, our club is very strong, or our strength is in our expert evaluations, those additional programming and workshops that we do, and of course our diversity. So not surprisingly, again, we got answers in that regard. Of course, every club can improve, and we are no different than others. We got a lot of great ideas to help us grow and improve going forward. We got responses like providing even more additional events outside the club, more networking opportunities, which, as you can imagine, can be a little challenging in an online environment, but something we'll explore. More opportunities for recognition, enhance our mentor program, and do more improv nights, something that was hosted recently by our immediate past president, Lois Margolin. I encourage you to go to the video section of our website to check out that event. Our meeting has a certain structure, as does every Toastmasters meeting, and it comes in 3 parts. We do speeches, we do table topics, which are impromptu, whereas speeches are prepared, and evaluations. Now, I also mentioned there are several roles that we have within our club. There's timer, there is an counter who catches our clutch words to make sure we decrease those, or if not, eliminate. Grammarian keeps track of good word usage, not so good word usage. I mentioned what the watcher and chat monitor do, and also the vote counter. Now for this meeting, because of the unique nature, we're going to dispense with the counter and vote counter roles, but all of those other roles will apply. And our general evaluator will ask those folks for their reports. So please do your role, but I want to ask you to share with us what that role is, because we're going to save that for your report at the end, and I'm just highlighting it here. We will now immediately go to the prepared speech section, the first segment of the meeting. Mary Ruth Dilling is going to be our our test speaker. She's going to be evaluated by 3 folks, and I'm sure that is a wonderful thing. I would love to take part in that. Mary Ruth, as some of you may have met her earlier on when she did the introductions, she is a distinguished Toastmaster. She has been with our club for a short while, but with the Toastmasters program for quite a while. Mr. Timer, are you aware of Mary Ruth's timing requirements? 7 to 9 minutes?
I was about to ask about that. Yes, 7 to 9 minutes. Okay.
Yes,
wonderful.
Excellent. Thank you. Wonderful. In today's world, being chronically sick is now considered normal. It is now normal for over 50% of our children to be on at least one medication, to have at least one diagnostic label. It is predicted that by 2030, more than 85% of children will have type 2 diabetes, and over 50% of them will be on the autistic spectrum. And those stats go up for adults. Heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, the numbers are growing astronomically. However, you do not have to remain a statistic. Growing older does not mean it is normal to have a long line of brown prescription medications which keep your symptoms managed. Today, Mary Ruth wishes to share a tiny bit of her story as life as a statistic and how she escaped it. She wishes to encourage us to do whatever it takes to escape being a statistic too. Please welcome Mary Ruth Dilling with Escaping Life as a Statistic. Escaping Life as a Statistic, Mary Ruth Dilling.
In the fall of 2012, I was coming to a crucial crossroad in my life. I could either make some serious lifestyle changes, or I could quit my MS program, my master's degree program. By this time, I had finished all but my internship for my master's in mental health counseling. I had done well despite my health challenges with Lyme disease. Beginning in 2013, I was begin the final phase of my degree program where I would have to work more than 35 hours a week. I was terrified. Here I was unable to walk more than a couple of steps without a cane or a walker. I couldn't stand more than a minute or two. I had a 2-second memory. I could barely hold a pen or remember my own son's name. My brain remained in a fog constantly. The worst part, outside of not sleeping maybe 1 or 2 hours a night, was the constant 9 to 10 pain. Medications, I had them in spades. Doctor visits, I went to the doctor an average of 2 to 3 times a month. I was basically non-functional. I had to rely on my then 16-year-old son and my fiance to do things around the house. One day, I was at church talking to a friend. In reality, I was whining, giving the poor me sad story. I mean, I needed someone to give me permission to quit. I could not be expected to work so many hours when I was even unable to prepare 3 meals a day for my family. Do you know what my friend did? She looked at me and she said, Mary Ruth, you know what to do. Just do it. I looked at her like she had slapped me in the face, because she did, figuratively. I could not believe she had done such a thing. She was my friend and was supposed to support me in whatever I wanted to do. Her comment got me to thinking. By this time, I had already been studying alternative medicine for over 25 years. She was right. I did know what to do. But I liked my pizza too much. I liked being able to dump a box in a pot of water or throw a frozen meal in the microwave. But an amazing thing happened. I did just do it. With a friend's help, I cleared out my pantry. I tossed all the fake food packages. I researched and did the elimination diet to find my food sensitivities, and I cut those foods. I cut gluten, dairy, and nightshades since I had severe degenerative arthritis in every vertebra of my spine. Long story short, in less than a week, my pain had dropped less than a half. Over the next few weeks, my bloating went away, my brain fog cleared up, I started sleeping better, my memory improved, and I began to lose weight so fast, my doctor thought I had contracted a deadly disease. Over the following 6 months, my health went through a radical change. Working with my doctor, after I explained what I had done, I got off of every single medication, over 15 in all. I no longer had any health issues that I was taking medication for, even mental health issues. My constant 9 to 10 pain dropped to an occasional 2 or 3 if I was bending a lot. I can now walk with and stand with no assistance. I even started exercising again. From the time I started making changes to now, I have gone from almost complete dysfunction to where I am 95% symptom-free of my Lyme disease, which is very rare. My main existing challenges is when I'm inadvertently exposed to chemicals or high EMFs. In today's world, over 50% of adults take at least one medication. At least half of those take 2 or more. And that's not counting the children. Statistically, we are not living longer. We are simply dying slower. People are ruled by appetite and eat whatever they wish without regard to how it will affect their mind and body. However, this doesn't have to be your present or your future. It is possible to escape being a statistic. One of the classes I teach is about rebuilding the temple from the inside out. And I want to give you a quick summary of the steps that you can start to take that on that pathway to better health today. In nutrition, whole foods, plant-based is best. Our bodies do not need to get our protein secondhand. E, exercise. Do something physical every day. There's a nice goal of 30 to 45 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week. But if all you can do is 5 minutes, then do that 5 minutes. When I first started exercising again, I could barely walk the length of the neighbor's house before turning back around. Now I can walk as long as I need. W, water. Ideally, we need half of our body weight in ounces a day. If you consume caffeine, you add 2 more cups per serving of caffeine. Yes, I'm well aware that that is a lot of water. And I know it causes a lot of bathroom trips in the beginning, but after a while, these slow down, become normal. Dehydration creates so many mental and physical health conditions. S, sunshine. We need our rays. Over 95% of people worldwide are deficient in vitamin D. It's responsible for over 2,000 cell processes and 200 genetic expression. And it's free. The darker your skin, the longer exposure you need. The more body fat you had, the longer exposure you need. Vitamin D is one of the best cancer preventers known to man. And it's extremely important for breast cancer prevention. T, temperance. This is not only avoiding things we know are bad for us, like smoking, drugs, alcohol, but also using or doing only the good things in moderation. Too much of even something good can be damaging. Air. We need to be able to breathe clean air all the time. I will not touch on mask wearing, but I say that it restricts our oxygen intake, creating acidosis. R, rest. We need proper sleep, ideally 7 to 9 hours a night. That's when our body, especially our brain, repairs itself. T, trust in divine power. This allows the special, when everything else is followed, it makes a difference. This is only a short summary of the steps I have taken to avoid being a statistic. I now enjoy life beyond what I could have imagined from before, of not being able to prepare 3 meals a day or carry on a conversation. I challenge each of you today to start today to improve your present and your future for yourself and your children. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Mary Ruth. Some great advice. I'm definitely gonna look more into that. Thank you again. For the benefit of our non-Toastmasters, and just to remind our Toastmasters, normally we do have 3 speakers, each get their own evaluation. For this special event, we are having Mary Ruth speak only, and she will have 3 evaluators. Mr. Timer, did Mary Ruth qualify? Oops, you're on mute.
I don't think we're actually voting. She actually ran a little bit over, but
No problem.
It was
Yeah,
worth it. It was worth it. It's good
It
to
was.
finish your sentence every once in a while too.
I agree. And again, folks, we do vote for best speaker, best evaluator, best table topics person. So we always ask the timer to ensure that folks qualify for those events. Okay, that completes the first section of our program. We're going to move right into the second segment of our meeting, which is table topics. Sarah's going to share with you more what that is about and lead us in that charge. Sarah, take it away.
Thank you, Lou. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. We're at an exciting part of our meeting where we're going to ask a very important question. Why did you join Toastmasters? In his book entitled Start With Why, Simon Sinek said that we all operate on 3 levels: what we do, how we do it, and why we do it. And he said that the most difficult of those to define is the why. And that's because why goes deeper into our emotions and what motivates us and how we feel about things. Tonight in our table topics, we'll ask members, why did they join Toastmasters? They will have 1 minute, 15 seconds to provide an answer. The timer will give a green at 45 seconds, a yellow at 1 minute, and a red at 1 minute, 15 seconds. I will start with 2 speakers, and then I will randomly choose 2 more speakers. My first speaker will be Mr. Smolinko. Mr. Smolinko, are you ready?
Yes.
Andrew, okay. Why did you join Toastmasters, and why are you in Online Presenters?
When I joined Online Presenters Toastmasters, I thought it wouldn't work. There is no way in the world I could get the smell of people online. There is no smell. There is no way in the world I could connect with people online. There is no way. There is no way in the world I could get the same atmosphere and excitement to go to the meetings. No way. I'm Andrei Smolenko. I'm a Toastmaster, and I've been with Online Presenters for 8 months. I was wrong. Yes, you can get at Online Presenters a smell of knowledge. Yes, you can get at Online Presenters that connection, even through digital formats. Yes, and you can get that excitement, really looking forward, a fun and joyful club night. And professional path, yes, it boosted. It really helped me to engage with my clients in a calm, almost mesmerizing manner, and I like it. It helped me with my family, talk to my teenage daughter in a more professional way. And I would say the most important is have some fun. This is why I've joined Online Presenters Toastmasters. This is my why. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Andre. Our next speaker is Mary Ann Grady. Mary Ann, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Why did you join Toastmasters and Online Presenters?
I'm Toastmaster Mary Ann Grady, and I always thought it would be great to be a speaker and a coach. But the speaker part terrified me. A friend told me about Toastmasters, but I was fearful. I knew I had to face those fears if I wanted to achieve my goal. That first meeting was both intimidating and exciting. I started taking small roles at meetings and began to give speeches. I received valuable feedback from my fellow Toastmasters, and I improved. Toastmasters was the best thing I did for both my personal and professional development. Communication is important no matter what we do. And where else can you find an entire group of people dedicated to improving themselves? I'm happy to say now that I am a coach and a speaker. I speak at conferences and I conduct workshops. And here at Online Presenters, I continue to learn. And that's my why. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Marianne. Now, our next two speakers, because you didn't have a heads up, I will just ask you, why did you join Online Presenters? And I would ask Miss Emily Thompson that question. Emily, why did you join Online Presenters?
Thank you for that question, Sarah, Madam Table Topics Master. Why did I join specifically Online Presenters? I joined Toastmasters because I wanted to be better at leading a group I was leading. I'm a college professor at a community college in the United States. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a 2-year college from which people can transfer to a 4-year college, or where they can learn a trade. And I teach on the side that does the transfers. I wanted to be more effective communicating and leading a group that I have been in charge of for 8 years. So I joined Toastmasters about 3 years ago. And much to my surprise, I discovered that it wasn't just communication that I needed help with, but leadership. And my very first path in Pathways on visionary communication helped me with leadership skills. I'm happy to report that 3 years later, I'm able to lead a conference for 250 people with a co-chair, and I've learned how to delegate, and I've gotten better at communication. I've learned this both at my brick and mortar club in Michigan and also at Online Presenters. And that's why I joined Toastmasters and Online Presenters. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Emily. Our next speaker will be Pamela Benjamin. Pamela, could you tell us why you joined Toastmasters?
Why did I join Toastmasters? Well, 7 years ago, my son was speaking in debate and he was working on it. He's an introvert and he wasn't real excited about it, but I wanted him to keep working on it. And my husband made a suggestion that maybe if I thought he needed it, maybe I needed public speaking skills too. So yes, my husband introduced me to a Toastmaster club that he had visited a few times. I went to one of the meetings and I was hooked. It took me a very, very long time to make the icebreaker about me. I like to talk about a lot of different things, but I never like to talk about me. So that was one of the things I learned, to talk about some of my stories. My first icebreaker was on the 200-year anniversary of Jane Austen, and that wasn't my story, but it was a good story. So I've learned to tell my story.
Thank you, Pamela. When I think about why I joined Toastmasters, it just came to me that I joined Toastmasters because Toastmasters believes what I believe, that every individual has value, that every person can learn, grow, and develop, and that everyone can respond to positive encouragement. And that's why I joined Toastmasters, so that I could learn, grow, and develop. And I'm a part of Online Presenters because I love the encouragement and the professionalism and all of those things that's put together that helps me to grow and develop into a better speaker, a better Toastmaster, a better person. Back to you, Lou.
Thank you very much, Sarah. I hope you all enjoyed that very special segment. Normally, when we conduct table topics, they are 1 to 2 minutes, but as Sarah mentioned, this is part of a special My Why segment for submitting to Toastmasters International. Thank you again, Sarah, for running that event. We're now going to move over to the third component of our meeting. It is the evaluation section, and that, much like table topics, is hosted by a different individual. Andrew Byrne is going to be hosting the evaluation segment. Take it away, Andrew.
Thank you very much, Lou, and welcome all Toastmasters from around the globe and all over the United States, as Lou pointed out in his introduction. We're going to focus on 3 unique perspectives of a speech given by one of our Toastmasters, Mary Ruth. And we are going to hear first from Jim Barber. And just like they do in contests, all the other roles that we normally have, the grammarian, the role, the body language, all of those things that you normally see separated out are all going to be combined, because each of the evaluators will be giving a contest level evaluation for this speech. First evaluator will be Jim Barber. Go ahead, Jim.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, my fellow Toastmasters, visiting Toastmasters and guests, and of course, especially a Mary Ruth Dilling. Mary Ruth, this was a phenomenal presentation. Normally, when somebody gives a description of their medical problems, it's a downer of a speech. I mean, we listen to that and we go, oh my gosh, and it's a downer. What can I say? But not in this case. You were inspirational, you were uplifting, you were motivational. That was incredible right there. Part of it is due to your sincerity and your passion. That came through with every statement that you made. You weren't giving a speech. You weren't doing that. You were trying to convince us of something that you believed in so passionately, and you did a great job. You were animated. Your gestures, I will come back to that in a moment, but your gestures were very good. Your excellent gestures. You had incredible content. I had to listen to this as an evaluator, and unfortunately that meant that I couldn't study the content in a way that I wanted to. And I'm glad that they're recording this presentation, because I want to go back and study what you had to say in detail. I loved your one statement. I love it when somebody can condense an entire speech into one statement, and you did that. You said, we are not living longer. We are dying slower. That was powerful. That was a kick in the gut, I think, to everybody. I do have one suggestion for you. It will apply in a couple of different ways. Your camera was pointed up at you. You were looking down at your camera, and this caused the ceiling to be behind you. This was a little bit distracting, but it also caused another problem. You have a tendency to move around, which is normally a good thing. You would move back from the camera a little bit, and you would move forward to the camera, and that was okay the way you were doing it. But let's see if I can fix my camera to do that. If I move back from the camera, notice that I fall down in the camera. And so if you will raise your camera so that you are at eye level and you are looking into the camera, that you will avoid that problem. You'll avoid the distraction of having the ceiling behind you. It'll solve a lot of things. And that was the only suggestion that I have for what was an incredible, dynamic, passionate presentation. And I look forward to going back and studying this in detail. Thank you, Mary Ruth. This was terrific. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Jim Barber. I'm going to call on David Carr, who's our timer, to reinforce the time that we give in time management for this section of the evaluations. David, could you give a timing evaluation of what we do during this segment?
Sure, it's 2 to 3 minutes with a 30-second buffer.
Thank you very much. And at the end, David will list all the evaluators in the chat room to let us know how long they took to do their evaluation. Our second evaluator today is Christian Ranchern, and he's going to be also evaluating the speech that we just heard from Mary Ruth.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Ladies and gentlemen, are we ready to take action to do something different today? That was the call to action I got from the speech. Thank you, Mary Ruth, because it's coming at the right time. I need to lose this love handles. Mary Ruth, as you started your speech, you did a number of things very well. You not only met your speech objective for the purpose of your speech, you inspired your audience, you inspired me. You did it in a structured way. You started by not asking me a question, asking me to think by sharing a story. And stories, especially personal ones, are the best ways to inspire an audience, and that worked with me. And you started on a note that was painful, the challenge of the studies and the health scare and the health problem. And then you moved along, and it went from bad to worse. It was the typical roadmap for the hero's journey. That's the success you want, the success recommendation for any inspiring story. And then there was that life-changing moment where there is that moment of dialogue between you and your friend. And there I've got my first recommendation for you. As I heard you speaking, Mary Ruth, I would have loved you to slow down and pause at specific moments. The tone of voice was there, the power was there, the pacing was there. But there was a moment, there were a lot of moments. For example, I heard you say, I couldn't walk without a cane. I was expecting to pause and move on, especially that dialogue with you and your friend. Do what's right, take action. That, for me, needed that moment of pause before and after. Having said that, as you went along, Mary, if you did also something differently. You used a mnemonic. Now, it came at the 4-minute mark, but it was a mnemonic, and it was powerful. It's something I wrote down and I'm going to use. My second recommendation for you here, Mary Ruth, is short and sweet. I heard 7 letters in that mnemonic. I was expecting to have a shorter version because you had news, art. If you had given me new, only nutrition, exercise, and water, and you had used it from the start, I was wanting to be new. And at the end, you tell me about coming out as a new person born. And as you're doing that, you would have been within time, and it would have been highly memorable. That's my second recommendation. Having said that, Mary Ruth, as you delivered, you stood up and you were confident, and you had a lot of descriptive words. I need to take my notes here because this is what I heard. My brain remained in a fog, the constant 9 to 10 pain. Medication, I have them in spades. You even had metaphors. My health went through a radical change. Those are the elements that connected me to your message, because I know what it feels like to struggle with different issues, especially health ones. Having said that, Mary Ruth, what I enjoyed the most about your speech was the emotions that you showcased in your tone of voice. That tone of voice is something that I will always remember and cherish. So Mary Ruth, keep doing what you're doing, and actually see you sharing your message to everyone and anyone who needs to do things differently, just like me. Mr. Drill Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Christian. We had 3 evaluators looking at the same speech from slightly different perspectives. Some of the things we learned from our speakers was that this was a very powerful and inspiring story. But I think one of the things that really hits home is when we want to have a message that delivers and hits forward to the people that we want to deliver it to, have a CTA, call to action. If your message has a call to action, it makes it even more powerful. And that was brought out by several of our evaluators. At this time, I'm going to call for reports from some of our other functionaries.
Andy wasn't, I think we only heard from 2 evaluators.
Report.
We only heard from 2 evaluators.
We heard from Jim, we heard from Chris. I'm sorry, Lucas. My mistake. Lucas is doing our 3rd evaluation.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, and hello to all Toastmasters and most welcome guests, and especially Mary Ruth Dilling. Thank you for providing such a relevant, and I'll highlight relevant because none of us want to be chronically sick. And this is about health and wellness. You gave us a very engaging story and engaging information. When it comes to a good story, people don't just want to hear your story about how you were sick and then leave it at that. What you gave us, which is essential to good storytelling, is the problem, the issues that you're dealing with, the adversity, and then the transformation, what you were able to do to get out of that issue that you were in. And that's what in reality has kept me, and I'm sure kept the rest of the audience engaged with your story. You showed emotions. You transported us into your world, into your experience, into what you were dealing with through the emotions, through your hand gestures, through everything that you're doing, the changes in your pitch, the changes in your tone of voice. I was just thinking, I was able to visualize your friend when she told you that you know what to do, you just need to do it. And the face of shock, the shocked face that you showed when you were talking about that story. So getting us to not only understand your story, but allowing us to almost imagine and go through the sequence of the events as you were telling the story means that, in my opinion, that you did an extraordinary good job at storytelling. There are a couple of things that I would have wanted to see, or some observations that I made that I think could benefit the audience and better serve your speech. The first thing is that you mentioned Lyme disease. Now, we are a very diverse club all over the world. I'm not sure if Lyme disease is something that is necessarily something that is maybe general knowledge, known worldwide. So maybe a brief description of what that is would have benefited the audience, especially in this particular context. You did get to the symptoms of what that included, but I think you can make that connection a little bit earlier on, that you were experiencing a lot of these symptoms as a result of that. Another thing is your hand gestures, and I love that you had many hand gestures while giving your story, but I think as far as your framing, you were a little bit too close so that some of them were kind of cut off. The other thing is your background. I had really no issues with the background. There was just two things. You had some things that were hanging on the back. One of them had text, and when you started, I immediately looked at the wall to see trying to read what that said. So a clear background, I think, would take the focus off of whatever you have going on and leave it directly on you. The last thing I would say, just to challenge yourself, is with the description of all the things that you wanted us to do, maybe a visual would better keep that in mind for us. Feed it to us in a very easy way, rather than just listing them off verbally as well as visually, I think would definitely serve your audience better. Overall, this was an amazing story, and I believe you excelled in this speech, and I look forward to your next one. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Lucas. And this is what we go through each week. We hear great speeches, exciting evaluations. It's so exciting that you almost forget where you are in the program. But now we've finished our 3 evaluators, and now I'd like to hear from the grammarian. And the word of the day was
competence,
professionalism, and competence for the word of the day. Mr. Grammarian.
Yes, hello everybody. Today I'm your grammarian, and for sure the word of the day was competence. So we're all competent, we all qualify, we're all very experienced, and my role tonight was very easy. And also Christian helped me with a few of the things that I had to talk about, like the metaphors, the descriptive words that were said in the test speech, and also the mnemonics that he talked about. So what is left for me to tell you is mostly like the good expressions that I've heard from tonight. And from the good expressions that I've heard we are not living longer, we are dying slower. And I heard that Toastmasters has helped me for my professional and personal development. Start today to improve for tomorrow's sake. Avoid being a statistics. And those were all wonderful things I've heard tonight. And we're an advanced club. And my job was very easy, as I said. And I tried my best to find faults and problems with the English spoken in the at online presenters, and I didn't find any. So we just can applaud each other, one another, for our great usage of the English language. Back to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much. Next, we'd like to hear from the watcher. What did you see?
Thank you, Andy, and greetings to all my fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, everyone who's even watching in replay. What an exciting evening to have an invitation for all of our members and even guests to decorate with specific backgrounds. And what great contribution we had. I'd like to say woohoo and clap my hands to Barry Doctor, a guest who took us up on that with his Canadian flag behind him. I'd like to acknowledge Natasha Van Ellison. I'll call her #1 for having a single flag as a background. It really stands out. And Pamela Benjamin for daring to use a video background, which was great. I also want to acknowledge that a few of the people who knew they were going to be spotlighted, Andy Byrne, Jim Barber, and Lucas, you were very effective at us seeing you up close and really getting the benefit of seeing both your flags, both your national flag and your state flag. I would like to acknowledge that our speaker, Mary Ruth, when she did a great job of being close enough to the screen so that we could really take in the range of her facial emotional expression. It was great to watch. The one last thing I would like to encourage all background users to do is preview your background and see what it looks like when you're really in front of it. Can everybody see the whole image? Pay attention, because some people could have tweaked that a little bit so we could have seen their flags better. And lastly, best use of lighting goes to Christian, who had the great contrast of good lighting and a dark background, which made him look very effective. That is my report. Back to you, Andy Byrne, or whoever's taken over.
Thank you. Let's hear from the counter, listening carefully, building that skill of listening. Counter, your report.
We have no counter this evening, Andy.
Aha. Let's hear the chat monitor. And what did you see in the chat?
Hello, everyone. In the chat, we had a lot of links being shared. We had the links concerning the backgrounds with the different states, as well as links concerning David Carr's appearance in Toastmasters magazine. We also had great enthusiasm concerning the video and the James Bond music. Someone, Pamela, even inquired about the penguins. She wanted to know where were the penguins. She needed some penguins in the video, which was awesome. Everyone loved the international flavor of our club and the fact that we're so dynamic in the way that our cultures blend together. Our president welcomed the visitors throughout the program while they entered the room. So this was great. It's good when we have a president that is so who acknowledges all our visitors upon their entrance to the club. Thank you. This is my report for today as a chat monitor.
Well, thank you very much. As a general evaluator, it's my responsibility to also evaluate the meeting. And this was a special open house meeting. We had many special features. Our testimonial feature with the table topics incorporated into it, beginning that talked about the diversity of our membership and how many DTMs and other successful people are in our club. And we are great time managers because it is now just a little bit more than 8:45, and we have time for our president, to share with us their thoughts. And we are great at time management, getting a lot done in our time. Our meeting starts again for all our guests at 7:45, but we come on at 7:15 Eastern Standard Time to share with each other socially for about 30 minutes and get to know one another a little bit better. We also spend some time after the meeting is officially over to get to spend time with each other socially as well. And I feel badly for Nick and those that are having this meeting go until 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, and then Mauritius waking up 4 o'clock in the morning. You have unbelievable stamina and energy. My hat is off to you. At this point, I turn the program back to the Toastmaster of the day, Lou Brown.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you very much. First of all, folks, I have to give a few apologies. One is not mentioning that word of the day, competence. However, because our members exude such competence, I knew they would look at the agenda and find that word of the day. So bravo to all of you for doing that. Also, my second apology is for not recognizing that Mary Ann Grady is responsible for that most recent video that I showed in the opener, the James Bond video. She did a fantastic job. Mary Ann, my sincerest apologies for not recognizing you for that. I knew it, and for whatever reason, I just didn't mention it. So again, wonderful video. Thank you. Okay, folks, we hope that you have enjoyed the meeting so far. That wraps up the formal portion with those three components: speeches, table topics, and evaluations, but we're not done yet. We still have one more item to go. We thought we'd share with you a special segment in which our all prior presidents will share a little bit about themselves and why they like online presenters. We have two of those presidents with us this evening, and hopefully Nick is, there he is, okay. Wonderful. So we're gonna first hear from our initial charter president, David Carr. I'd like you, and of course I won't repeat this for you, Nick, but share with us your vision as president, your successes and challenges, your legacy, and how do you feel folks would benefit from joining our club? Given that you have 1 to 2 minutes and that you probably will be challenged with the timing, I'll do that for you.
Okay.
Please share.
That's good. Thank you, Lou. When I started this club, I was interested in doing more with webinars and online events. I had an opportunity to do it professionally on a sort of an intermediate basis because I was a writer about technology. And so I did things when I was with Information Week and with other publications. But I wanted to learn to do it better. I say in general about being in Toastmasters that in the beginning, I didn't join because I was afraid of public speaking, but I probably should have been if I understood how much I had to learn. And in the online presentation area, I had some experience, but I knew I could be better. And I took this opportunity to start a club that would allow me to get better. It would allow other people to get better. And I've had a lot of fun with it. I think I started it in the right direction, and I've been lucky to have people who came along after me, including Lois Margolin, our immediate past president, and Nick, our president this year, who have sort of magnified the success. They've amped it up to 11, at least, on the Spinal Tap scale. And all I have to do is support them and help out. And I do have to mention that I am also the person who runs the Toastmasters.org platform on which we run our website. And so, you know, the honest truth is I'm just using these poor club members as beta testers for my wacky ideas about how to use web software to organize Toastmasters Club more effectively, including the online timing tool you saw behind me was actually built into our website and then shared in the meeting using the OBS Studio software. That's enough from me. Let's hear from Nick.
Thank you, David. Why did I join this club? I was very much into the bricks and mortar clubs, the physical clubs, back in the, okay, let me tell you something. Back in the day, people used to meet in person and exchange and use the same air, breathe and touch each other and shake hands and all sorts of those things. And what happened was that for about a month, my wife was away in India. I mean, this is the honest truth. And I had to have my fix. So I said, okay, well, how can I look after my kids and still do my Toastmasters? Well, somebody suggested online. I said, are you nuts? Online? We do lots of things online, but can't do Toastmasters online. Well, I was wrong. I came to online presenters. I came to a number of the other clubs, actually. I liked online presenters because it was fast. It was smooth. There were obviously great speakers, even better evaluators. And what I found was I couldn't stop thinking about the online presenters. What would I be able to actually do in the club like this? I had no idea. But what I did do, though, was I joined the following week. I then went and jumped in with both feet and just went with it. And here I am 2 or 3 years later. I've almost finished my term as president, had a wonderful time. One of the key things about this is that compared to many other clubs, and I've been a member of about 15 clubs in my time, this is the best run club. As president, I've had not a lot to do. I've had great ideas that the board have backed me on, and we've had great initiatives. We've done wonderful work. But in the background, there's wonderful officers, great teamwork. We all work well together. The members are there. We're the largest online club in the world, by the way. And let's go and get better. Absolutely. What we're looking for is open-minded individuals who are going to put themselves in here, feet first, and let's get on with it. Back to you, Mr. Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you so much, David and Nick. And how fitting that we heard from both our initial president and our most recent president, kind of like the bookends. We had a few in between, of course, since we've been around 4 years. Sadly, those folks weren't able to be with us tonight. I do have to mention one thing though, Nick. I'm not sure about the laws in Great Britain, but we kind of have rules here about touching each other. That might be a little tricky here. Of course, we don't have to do that in an online environment. So I guess when we get back to brick and mortar, we may revisit that. Anyway, normally at the end of our meetings, we have closing remarks from our president, who also reaches out to our guests to get their feedback. Nick, back to you for some closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Lou. Well done to you. Well done to our general evaluator, Andy, and everybody who took part. Really enjoyed the format. I hope you enjoyed it too as guests and members. Let's talk to a couple of guests, and then we're going to have a couple of club notices, and then we're going to finish at 9 p.m. Eastern. Therefore, let's go to one or two of the guests that we have on screen here. Barry, Doctor. Barry, what's your one takeaway from today's meeting, please?
Wow, I don't think there is just one. I love the faster pace of the meetings. The quality of the evaluations were wonderful. Everything was very good.
Thank you very much, Barry. Thank you. Let's go to Clara. Clara, what's your takeaway from today's meeting? Please unmute yourself.
I'm trying. I've been having technical difficulty with both my phone and my computer. It's been a challenging evening. Hi, good evening. It was fun. It was entertaining. It was very professional. The evaluations were excellent, and I cannot say enough. I definitely will come back again to visit, and it was exciting to see all the oh, I escaped the word. And I definitely don't want to say or but the diversity That's what I was trying to find, so I had to stop. The diversity, it was great. I cannot believe, how did you guys do? 50 some members y'all have? I'm talking Southern here.
Well, actually, up until a week ago, we had 67. So, but what happens is every 6 months, we, 10 or 15 move on, and then we get another 20 in the next following 6 months. So,
how do you guys do? What do you guys do? How often do y'all do the open house? Because I know that's a great part of it.
No, we don't normally do any kind of these kind of PR activities. It's the first time I've known it for quite a couple of years.
Love it. I really loved the energy. It was great. Love the evaluations. It was great. Is it always 3 evaluations per speaker, or that was
no? Today was a special event. Normally it's, yeah. But I'm glad you enjoyed it, Clara. Thank you for your feedback. After the meeting, we are going to go and stay on for a while, okay? So you'll have a chance to speak. Let me just talk to another couple of guests very briefly. Nigel, we didn't get a chance to speak to you earlier. Oh, he's gone. There you go. Nigel, what's your takeaway from today's meeting?
Oh, well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I thought the meeting was full of energy. I was very encouraged, and would be eager to sign up and join.
Okay.
Back to Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Nigel. Which part of the world are you calling from?
I'm calling from Texas.
Okay, excellent, cool. Talk to Lou Brown, and he'll talk to you about membership. Okay, thank you. Let's talk to another guest very briefly. I don't know what the name right. Ruth Lawn. Are you there, Ruth? Hi.
Yeah.
What's your one takeaway from today's meeting?
My takeaway from today's meeting was basically seeing how 3 different evaluators were basically focusing on different things from one single speech. But it was a great meeting.
Brilliant. So thank you for joining us. One last guest, Pedro. Tell us what you thought. What's your takeaway?
Hi, everyone. My takeaway is it is a pleasure to see how everybody acted with professionalism. You are full of competence. You follow step by step the program. This is very great. I like it and I enjoy it. Thank you.
Brilliant, Pedro. Thank you. Thank you all our guests for joining us. Thank you for all our members. I have one very quick club announcement. 26th of April, we have the webinar contest. Nobody else does this, okay? We have role players, and we possibly even have some roles for a contestant or 2. So have a look online, get in touch with Christian and his team if you have any questions. With that, I'm going to close the meeting, and then we're going to have the after party after that. Please close the meeting. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week.